50 years, John, in the business, 50 years at the Chronicle, 50 years covering Newcastle United and boxing in the North East, and you're still at it. Why?
Well, but that's a good question, because a lot of people keep saying to me, why don't you retire? You'll be able to do whatever you want to do. Well, I want to watch Newcastle United, and I've got the best seat in the ground, and somebody's stupid enough to pay me to actually sit in it. I go and see all the top boxing shows from the North East National League, World Cups, Olympic Games. I don't want to retire. I don't play golf. I would retire and buy a season ticket in Newcastle. No thanks. As long as that stays good, then I'll stay in business. Anyway, I want to see Newcastle win something, so I know I've got to keep working for an awful long time.
Let's talk about Newcastle first and foremost.
Yeah.
Biggest hero for you?
Great question, because I've had so many heroes. I go for Peter Beardsley because he could make goals and score goals.
Yeah.
He was a complete entertainer, wonderful player, great vision, local lad. Him. Heroes, I've always been about number 9s, and my hero as a kid, and that's when you ought to have heroes, was Jackie Milburn. I was sitting in the 50s, 10, 11, 12-year-old, watching Jackie Milburn win the FA Cup. I thought we were going to win something every year. We never won anything domestically since, which is unbelievable. But always say, don't meet your heroes. And I met Jackie and knew Jackie ever so well because he was in the press box by the time I became that. I wrote 3 or 4 books with him. Nicest man you could ever wish to meet. My opinion of him just went even higher than I'd known him as a schoolboy. Other heroes, Muhammad Ali, the only guy I've ever asked for an autograph as an adult. I saved autographs as a kid all the time. Muhammad Ali come to Newcastle, I asked him for his autograph. Special sort of guy. But anybody that plays well for Newcastle United are my heroes, because that's what my life's about, like thousands of Geordies.
The Fairs Cup must have been a great journey as well.
Wonderful. I mean, I started off, I covered England winning the World Cup in 1966, Newcastle winning the European Fairs Cup in 1969, and I thought, this is it. It's all glory. We're going to win something. England's won out since, Newcastle United's won out since, so I'm still waiting. But, I mean, it was special. Everybody was so naive when they won the European Fairs Cup. Newcastle had never been in Europe, therefore they travelled without fear. Wherever they went, they had a centre forward who was a beanpole, Wyn Davies. The Continentals didn't know how to handle him because they were used with football on the deck. We played it up. Off him, huge courageous heart, Pop Robson scoring the goals off him. Very good defence. It was a wonder. And what people don't realise, Steve, is that Newcastle went on to play 3 successive years in Europe, and they never lost at all in the double headers, literally beaten. They either went out on away goals or went out on penalty shootouts. The twice they did go out. They never actually lost over 2 legs on goals to a side for 3 years in Europe. Quite something.
Amazing record. Amazing record. The 50 years is going to be recognised by the Variety Club. You've been at many events, you've compared many events, but this one event you're going to be able to sit back. I'm not sure how you're going to deal with that, Gibbo, because you're used to being on the mic, but tell us a little bit about it, what it's for and who's going to be there.
I'm absolutely flabbergasted that somebody has bothered, because to me, I'm always the chief support. I'm the guy there that's trying to look after the star and make the star look as good as he actually is. This is different. This is with me going. I don't know how I'll handle that on the night, but what it is, it's 50 years unbroken service on the Chronicle as the front writer. And if you just think about it, it's very difficult to do that. You've got to start in your 20s and you've got to go on past the 65 retirement age, else you're going to get 50 years in. So I don't know if I've got it because I'm good or I've got it because I've lived long enough to receive it. But it's a wonderful gesture. Obviously the Variety Club come to me. You can't ask them to do it. And once I sort of got off the floor with amazement, I said, yes, of course. And, to have the sort of people that are coming on the night as well. I mean, it's all about the fans, and the fans are going to be there on the night. But to have people like Sir John Hall and Peter Beardsley and Bob Moncur and Malcolm MacDonald and Glenn McCrory and Ian Lafreniere, who's come over from Hollywood, who did Off Wheelies and Pet, like Lads Lovejoy, who was my big pal that grew up in Whitley Bay. To have them there to support me on that night, very, very special occasion. And Steve Wraith, of course, over here is coming. That's good as well, because we work together on both the football and the boxing. It's just smashing to have somebody recognise you when I've spent all my time trying to recognise other people. I've lived my professional life and loved it in the shadow of the proper stars. and if you stick around long enough, they shine a beam on you occasionally. So that's lovely. I'm looking forward to it.
Well deserved, Gibbo. People want tickets for that event. It's for the Variety Club, and the number for that is 0191 214 5959. John, it's well deserved. Best of luck with it, and thanks for talking to us tonight.
Appreciate it, mate. Nice to see you.
Glenn McCrory has played a huge part in your life, and you went on to watch him, lift the World Cruiserweight title.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about that as well.
I did. That was extra special because he was the only guy from Tyneside, and it was really extra special because he was a pal, and he did it so well. I mean, he was actually training for a world title fight with his missus on the pads. He told me his missus was working the pads with him. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. He shouldn't have been fighting a 4-rounder at the bottom of a bill, training like that. Massive heart, good hands, eventually only beaten because he couldn't make the cruiserweight limit. He was not beaten by opponents, he was beaten by the weight structure. He was never big enough to be a heavyweight. He fought Lennox Lewis, and I laughed with him because I say when he got up off the stool, he'd never bothered straightening up because he was going to be knocked down. So he just come halfway up and very had short of distance to fall. He wasn't big enough for a heavyweight, but it was wonderful. And I went later, after he lost his title, to Moscow, which was very special because the Berlin Wall had just come down. It was the first professional world title fight Russia had ever had, because they were amateur, like the Cuba were amateur boxers. World title fight. They had to import fighters because they had none of their own, so they got a Brit and an American to fight for a world title. That was a unique experience because Moscow at the time, all the gangsters were just coming back with communism having gone and capitalism coming, and it was like the Wild West. There was more entertainment and fights before the world title fight than there was that night. But wonderful times, Olympic Games as well, World Cups all over the world, smashing. But once a Geordie, always a Geordie. The heart stayed black and white, and that's what I want to be the real success and crown off my years by Newcastle winning a big trophy. I don't mean promotion. I want them to win that. I don't mean the champions of the championship, because we shouldn't be in the championship. I want us to win something higher up.
The